I am so happy to have you in my kitchen today. Thank you for joining me. Now, did you know that there is one very special part of you, yes, you, each and every one of you out there, that I am concerned about? It's your belly, or more specifically, your GI tract. We have more nerves in our belly than in our spine. 70% of our immune system resides in our GI tract. We have millions of bacteria down there that are healthy or unhealthy. Anyway, it's all connected and it's all super, super important. Now, the bad thing is diet, stress, environmental toxins, all of those things can throw our GI tract out of whack, and it can result in leaky gut, chronic low-level inflammation, IBS, even depression and allergies. So I don't want you guys walking around out there each and every day having to deal with these little problems that add up and accumulate over time. No, let's get to the root of it and fix it. Now, how do we fix it? With food. We can fix it with food, not medication and pills, but delicious, wonderful recipes that I know you're going to enjoy. So I'm ready to take you on a great journey. I hope you're ready to follow me. So please join me in the first ever episode of Healthy Belly Cooking. Come on. Today's dish is going to warm you up from the inside out. It is loaded with plant-based protein, fiber, antioxidants, probiotics, vitamin K, vitamin C, vitamin A. It is delicious and nutritious. It is miso-ginger, kale, and white bean soup. It is so good. You're going to love it. Trust me on this. Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do for our ginger, miso, kale, and white bean soup is deal with our beans. Now, it can be very, very tempting to go straight away to getting canned beans. It's cheap, it's fast, it's just no hassle. However, I'm going to tell you that in those canned beans, it is loaded with sodium and additives, things that you do not want. It's not worth it. Trust me, we're going to try going with dried beans, soaking them, boiling them. It's going to be so much better for you. Now, the one wonderful thing about white beans is they are loaded with 45% of your daily fiber. That is awesome. Your GI tract loves that. Your bacteria loves that. So what we do is we take our dried beans. If you see any dirt or anything, pick it off, and then we soak them for 2 to 12 hours. The ones in here have been sitting overnight, so it's been about 12 hours. The wonderful thing about soaking is it starts to break down the outer membrane of the bean. Now, why is that important? It's important because in those beans there's starches and natural sugars that, if not attended to, will, I'm sorry to say it, lead to intestinal gas. Intestinal gas is not something that you want. I don't think it's something that you want. I don't want it for you. So we soak it, we let that break apart. After the 2 to 12 hours, we rinse the beans off, throw them in a pot, 1 part bean to 4 parts water, and we let it simmer for 30 to 90 minutes until the beans are tender. So we have our pre-soaked beans in our pot. Wonderful. Now, what I would normally tell you is that if you're making beans from here on out, just to have with your meal for any other reason, 3/4 of the way through the cooking process, you should add some salt. It just helps bring out the natural flavors of the beans. However, with this recipe, with the miso, we don't really need to. Miso already has some wonderful salt in it, so kind of adding it to this would be overkill. So that means the wonderful, wonderful component of this part of the process is we can set it and forget it. Let the beans go for a little while, bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and you can just kind of hang out and let them chill. So we're going to start our miso broth next. I am so excited. It's so delicious, and I will see you soon. All right, let's get started on our miso-ginger broth. We've got our miso, we have our ginger. The only other thing that we need is water, so not a problem. Now, for 1 second, I want to talk to you about my new BFF. It is miso. This is just a mild yellow miso from Trader Joe's. It's not a big deal. There are different ones out there that have more robust flavors, but I think for this soup it's going to be good. Now, what is so special about miso? Well, I will tell you. Miso is loaded with wonderful probiotics. Probiotics are great for your GI tract. It's healthy bacteria that is anti-inflammatory. It boosts your immunity. It actually has eliminating it has eliminating effects of industrial toxins that we take into our body, like pesticides on our food or in our soil, in our air. It cleans out our cells. So it is wonderful and kind to us. So treat your body right and give it some miso. It wants it. So we're going to move on to our ginger, which is also part of our broth. And the really wonderful thing about ginger in this recipe is there's no slicing, dicing, chopping, or mincing. We're just going to clean off the natural bark around the ginger root, and what we'll end up doing is throwing this in the pot so that the entire broth gets the wonderful aroma and flavors and natural health benefits of the ginger. And then at the end of the process, we'll discard the fibrous root. We don't really need to eat that. The great thing about ginger is it is a natural detoxifier. It helps you sweat, and when you sweat, you get all that disgusting stuff out of your system. So it's good, it's delicious, and your tummy loves it. So we are now ready to throw in our ginger and our miso to the water. So ginger goes in, and a good rule of thumb with your miso is that you want about a tablespoon of miso per serving of your soup. I'm making about 4 servings, so a nice healthy dose of miso is going to be just perfect. So once your miso and your ginger is in the pot and you've got the heat going on, you can really set it and forget it, just like the beans. You want the miso to break down, you want the ginger to release its natural wonderful flavors and everything to meld, but it's pretty much that simple. So we're going to cover this, let it do its thing, and in the meantime, we're going to move on to the veggies. Now I'm going to throw you a curveball. I know it's kale and white bean soup, but we are going to add a medium-sized yellow onion. Don't freak out, it's easy, it's cheap, it's not a big addition. The wonderful thing about onions is the flavonoids, which are the pigments that give the onion their color, are loaded with anti-tumor and anti-inflammatory properties. So pretty much all of that is amazing. It's chock full of vitamin C, which is going to be great for your immune boosting. It's wonderful. Now I like having a nice heavy stock, like actually knowing where my veggies are in my soup. So I'm just going to do a rough, thick chop of this onion so it can get thrown in later. If you're not so much for bites and chunks of onion, mince it up finely. It still is going to add all those wonderful good nutrients. So either way you choose is going to be great. So you have your onion diced or chopped however you like. Like I said, I like mine a little more meaty and chunky. We are going to add some extra virgin olive oil to a pan or a pot. Extra virgin olive oil, let me just say, is a culinary rock star. This stuff is gold. It is anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory. It reduces your risks of heart disease. It's loaded with phytonutrients. Anywhere that you can add a splash of extra virgin olive oil is only going to help you. It's not going to hurt at all. So yeah, definitely keep this stocked in your cabinet. So we heat up the olive oil just to the point where it's shimmering. You never want to heat an oil over its saturation point because then it starts to smoke and becomes toxic. It's no good. So just to the point where you see a little bit of gleam and shimmer on it, that's great. Take all of your onions, yummy, throw them down in, and we're going to sweat them out a little bit. Now, while the onions are on the stove and they're sweating out and becoming delicious in that wonderful extra virgin olive oil, let me introduce you to our garlic. I want to throw that in there as well. Now, garlic for centuries has been acclaimed to be a wonderful cure-all. I mean, it's blood cleansing, it's loaded with antioxidants, again, belly-friendly, lovely. I grew up with an Italian stepfather, so garlic was always in my house. Now, you want to be careful because if you're not used to eating garlic a lot, too much garlic can be really damaging actually for your stomach. So if you're new to it, if you don't use it a lot in your cooking, start out with a very small amount just to introduce your system to it. I think I probably have a clove of garlic a day, so I'm going to go with a little bit more. Just chop it up finely. This is something that I would say is better as finely minced as possible, unlike the way that I like my onions. But yeah, so go ahead and grab a clove or half of a clove and mince away. So we have added our garlic to our onions. Those are gonna blend and get flavorful and aromatic and be delicious. And then you're gonna take some ghee, which is clarified butter. Now this is so much better than what we normally eat as butter. If we eat it enough over time, it actually helps lower our bad cholesterol and can help prevent heart disease. That's right, it stops our arteries from hardening, which can lead to clogs and every kind of bad thing you don't want to think about. So just a small little amount is going to do you, and just like the olive oil, it's going to be another really heart-healthy, wonderful fat. We are so close to being done. It smells delicious in this apartment. I'm hungry. I'm sure you're hungry already. This is the moment where we just combine some of the ingredients that we've already been working on. So our beans have been going low and slow for about 60 minutes now. Our miso soup, probably about 15, where it's been blending with the ginger root. And now our onions are nice and translucent, and we've got that good ghee and olive oil and garlic in there. So now we just make it one big happy pot and throw it all in together. And then we'll get to the kale. So let's go ahead and add everything together. Now, set our timer for about 10 minutes, just so that all of that flavor can marry. My friends, it is time for kale. Kale is a super green powerhouse. Oh my goodness, if you're not eating kale, start eating kale now with this recipe. Awesome. Kale has more calcium per serving than milk. Kale also has more iron per serving than beef. Did you know that? It has vitamin K, it has vitamin A, it is detoxifying, it is delicious, nutritious, and wonderful. It's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. So for this recipe, we want to add the kale in close to the end because you just want it to wilt. You're not trying to cook the kale really, you just want it nice and soft and tasty. So while the soup's going and blending for like 10 to 15 minutes, you've got time to deal with your power green. There are two ways to do this. Break off the leaves, separate from the stem. Healthy chunks, nothing serious. What I do is I'll normally just take a knife and cut it all the way down, keeping the stalk intact. Some people don't like that because the stalk becomes more bitter. I don't really mind the bitter flavor. I'm more about texture, and that stalk keeps a nice crisp, crunchy texture to my soup because everything else is kind of soft. You've got soft onions, you've got soft beans, you've got a soft soup. Everything on the palate is kind of mushy and nice, but I like a little surprise of a crunch. So I'm going to go ahead and break these into pieces. And join me. And then we'll taste our soup in a second and make sure that it's to our liking. So the miso soup has been sitting for a little while and blending and marinating and getting delicious. Never feel afraid to test your food before it's finished. You want to make sure it's to your liking. So this has been sitting and blending. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little, a quick little taste. It's delicious, but I like adding pepper. I'm a big pepper fan, so I know a couple cracks of the pepper mill are going to do wonders for me, at least. Like I said, I don't normally cook with salt. I don't add a lot of salt to anything, and the miso does already have a huge salt component. But taste it, see what you think. If it's still not to your liking, throw a couple dashes of salt in there. I don't care. I'll turn a blind eye. Don't mind. You have to like it. You have to want to eat it. So this is great. And we are almost there. We're almost ready to plate. Okay, great. Here we are. We are at the final moments of this wonderful cooking expedition that we have gone on together. We have had our stock marinating and simmering. It's wonderful, it's warm, it's ready to go. You get a free facial. Come on, that's insane. You can't get anything better than that. Everything's there, it's tasty, it's to my liking. I've done my salt, I've done my pepper. Well, not salt, but you know what I mean. And now we're gonna throw in all of this kale. I know it looks like a lot. It is a lot of kale, but it will wilt, it'll get smaller, it'll take up less space than you think it will. So we throw it in as much as you want. I like a hearty stew, hearty soup. Let's set our timer for no more than 3 minutes, really. Let that sit in there, wilt away, get a little bit softer, and then I invite you to bring out your ladle, bring out your bowl, serve yourself a wonderful heaping portion of this delicious soup. Treat your belly right, treat yourself right, and enjoy a delicious meal. Give me one moment. We're gonna let these 3 minutes pass and I'll show you the completed plated version. All right, you guys, we have come to the end of this journey. This apartment smells delicious. I wish you were here to enjoy the wonderful aromas. I'm gonna go ahead and dish myself up some of this soup. The greens are vibrant. Make sure to remember that you still have that ginger root in your broth. You do not want to eat that, so take it out or just work around it. Anything else that you don't end up eating on the first serving of this, put it in the freezer. It stays forever. It's great. You can always add fresh veggies to it when you reheat it. It's going to be wonderful. Enjoy. I will enjoy. There's so much steam coming up, but it's delicious. Thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of Healthy Belly Cooking. I cannot wait to share some more recipes and wonderful, healthy, delicious cooking with you. So until next time, I'm Lindsay, and thank you.